Hello everybody, it's Professor095 back with another video, deck profile, Narukami deck profile. It's been a while since I have uploaded Vanguard content, so yeah, so let's keep the story short. I bought a Narukami deck yesterday and I managed to get the full build, in just a matter of one day, so yeah, Narukami and stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go through what would be my deck profiles. Alright, so first things first, Spark Kid Dragoon, nothing special. My Forerunner of this Forerunner, Spark Kid Dragoon, just generic right upon and then draw one card. So that's it. Next, I have 3 Datonix Drill Dragon. Datonix Drill Dragon. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me focus. Just let me focus that. Okay. So yeah. So here's the VR of the booster sets. And he's probably the main guy that you would write. Usually I would write him later in late game. Just because I have to write other grade 3s first, because obviously he could restand. But before that, let me just go through the skills. Once per turn, once per turn, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost of counter +1. And if you do, choose one of your opponent's front row in the rear guard, and then you bind it. Then after that, you may throw as much of number of cards as the same number of your opponent's rear guards. Throw it, and he gets to restand and plus 5k and drive -1. So he's actually really good. So he's the main guy. So I will play 3 of that. So that's that. Just to keep the long story short, I wanted to have like why do I want to play Narukami is because Narukami is quite versatile, and playing Narukami would be quite nice. And besides Narukami is all about that power, whether it's the Datonix and all of the other cards I have in my deck. So yeah, so this is why I like to play Narukami in Accel. I have Force in Gear. I have Gear in Force, but I would leave it to other day. I don't think I might want to do a deck profile soon, but since this is new, I might just want to go through this one. Next is Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion. I think it's double R, right? Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion's skill, once per turn, you may counter +1. If you do, counter +2, sorry, in your turn, he gets 5k and 1 crit. And if your if your opponent's front row rear guards is 2 or more, he gets 1 crit. Instead of crit, you can not choose that crit. You cannot. You can go for like you can attack everyone in one go. So let's, for example, like if when he gets 5 counter +2 plus 5k plus 1 crit, but if your opponent has 2 or more rear guards in the front row, he basically just attacks everyone. So yeah, he just kills everyone in the front row or the rear guard. Hold up, let me check. Front row rear guard. So yeah, it's good. I play 2 of that. Next, I'll play Great Composure Dragon. I run him. I run 2 of these. But the skill is this. Why do I play him? Because he works in both Vanguard and Rearguard skill. And during the beginning of every opponent's battle phase, I think if you hold up, I think he get wait. Just let me go through. He basically gets 3k for each of my opponent's front row rear guard circles. If he doesn't have any other, and if he doesn't have any front row circles, he gets he gets 3k. Alright, so basically if my opponent attacks me, but if my opponent for each of my opponent's open rearguard circle, he gets 3k. So maximum if he wants to in a force, if he's fighting against force or protect deck, he'll be getting like say 18, or he'll get 18k max, so pretty good defense, and if it's your turn, it's plus 5k, so it's a very good offense as well. He will be hitting for 22k in most if you fight against Accel and force and protect decks. So that's all of my grade 3s. Moving on, I'll go to my grade 2s. I play 4 Dragonic Deathslights. So yeah, I play run 4 of these skill. First skill is when he plays on rear guard, you may so blast 2. If you do, you bind one of your opponents from a rear guard, and in this turn he gets 3k. 3k. Continuous skill, if there is no other rear guards in my opponent's same column as this unit, he gets 5k. I think it's on, yeah, so for example, if he's on the same row as my opponent's rear guards with no rear guards, he basically gets a 5k. So on its own maximum, he already has 17k on the first call, so he hits for pretty hard. So that's just a very good guy. One of the great grade 2s you can play. Okay, then moving on, I have Dusty Plasma Dragon. Once per turn, every time when your opponent, every time when one of my opponent's rear guard got bind, choose himself and one rear guard in the same column as this unit, and both of them get 5k. So that's why I play Narukami. It's because whether what happens, you get to bind. That's one thing for sure. And although you have some matchups like Nubatama, which is very annoying, but which you can't even get to have any buying of their rear guards. But aside from that, majority, I think I can get to like power up my column. So for example, if I have a 8k booster, he's already like 27 in one row, so it's pretty good. Yeah, Dusty Plasma, so I play 3 of that. Next I play, of course, 3 Recklessness Dragon skill. When he's placed on the Vanguard or rear guard circle, you may pay the cost of Counter Blast 1 and bind one of your opponent's rear guard in the front row, and he gets 3k. And yeah, so on call, you get to bind, so he's pretty good. What's the second skill? Alright, yeah. When this guy attacks the Vanguard, if the opponent has like 1 or less rear guards, he gets plus 3k or 5k. Let me check again. Yeah, 3k. So he's basically 12k attacker if your opponent has like 1 or less rear guards. So I think it's pretty nice, and he gets to bind as well. So play this guy in Accel circles, and he is already like himself 22k if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 19, 20, yeah, 22. So staple, I think he's rather staple, and these 2 guys would be the most staple in Narukami deck. Moving on, I play Excess Streak Dragon. Although he's an 8k attacker, but he still have a pretty decent skill. Called on rear guard, you may pay the cost, Counter Blast 1, so blast 1. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rear guard in the front row and bind it again. So that's why I have a lot of binding cards. And on that turn, he gets plus 10k. So on alone, 18k on a normal rear guard circle, 28k on Accel circle. So pretty good. So so that's, well, he's 8k attacker, and you get to call him once, but it's just a on-call skill. So I play 2 of these, but he's still quite decent in Accel. It would be still quite decent in Accel deck. Let's move on to my great ones. So 4 Rising Phoenix. So his skill activates in the drop zone, and every time when one opponent's rear guard is bound, he gets to call himself from the drop zone, and he gets 3k. So he's pretty good. So if like say that Accel Streak or any of these grade 2s that manage to bind, if I have like one of these cards, I could just directly just call there and then plus 3k, so he's gonna be a very great big power booster. Not to mention if Dusty +1 is the same column as this unit alone. Alone he's already like 30k if I'm not mistaken, so yeah. So this I think is pretty good, so I play 4 of that. Moving on, I have Demolition Dragon. So remember, if you're like Narukami, you got to have to write this card for sure. Demolition Dragon, I play 3 of these. The first skill is that if there is no wait, let me check again. If if your opponent does not have any rear guards in the front row, he gets 3k, so 11k attacker on its own. Provided if your opponent doesn't have any rear guards in the front row, that's one. Second thing is that when on the Vanguard circle, when this unit hits a Vanguard, you get to draw a card. So you have to Narukami players, they always have to write this card just so that they can get a free draw on hit and a free draw. So who doesn't like that, right? So I played 3 of this. I know I could play 4, but considering how good this is doing for the boost, I think I might want to go for 3 of these, and yeah, the rest. So third one, Helena. I think like it's lightning of hope Helena. Alright. Skill, rear guard once per turn when you're okay. Let me have to focus that. I think it's rather blurry since okay, skill, once per turn on the rear guard, every time when your opponent's rear guard is bound, you can pay the cost of Soul Blast 1 and counter charge 1. So she's really good, so I would recommend, this is definitely a staple. This guy is definitely a staple in most Narukami decks because you get to counter charge as well, so at the extent of Soul Blast. So you could pretty much just spam Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion or Detonix Drill, or you can just spam a lot of these guys' skill. So yeah, without anything else, so I think she's really a good card, so I play 3 of this. Third, play Lizard Soldier Riki. Skill, when he's placed on the Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, you may pay the cost of, when you call him or write him, you get to Soul Blast 1, he gets 3k, and you get to exchange one of your opponent's rearguard positions. Like I can move one of my rearguard's positions, my opponent's back row rearguard, and move it to the front, and he's basically a good combo with any of these those who with Death Sight, with Accel Streak, with Reckless Dust, because like if you call him or you I won't write him, but he is more to draw. So first turn, if you get to write him, that's quite a bummer. But he's actually a good on-call rearguard, just because in case if my opponent doesn't want to move it to the front, I can just force my opponent move it to the front, call any of these guys, and then you get to free bind, and then you can counter charge, and then he gets to call and plus 3k. There's so many combos with this deck. There's like what I said earlier before, this is quite a versatile deck. It has many combos that you can actually go through, so that's why I like to play Narukami after long analysis. Okay, so basically that's all of my great ones. So trigger lineup, I have 4 hues. I play 6 front triggers just because he's this deck focuses a lot on power. Front trigger would be the best option for me to go for, like push everyone to have a high power on its own. So pretty much he's really good. So yeah, I play 4 Kanzen Guards, 4 draw triggers as PGs, of course. Staple. It's null, so self-explanatory. 2 crit, because I don't feel like this deck needs a lot of crit push. It needs a multi-power boost. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, so 6 6 Accel markers. So yeah, I think that's all for my deck. I know it's pretty messy, but yeah, just this is basically all my deck. So I know it's very I got some of these cards at a pretty cheap price, so lucky for me. But overall, after I built this deck yesterday, and I played a lot of runs with my friends around in a certain card shop, this deck is quite OP. Not to say too OP, but it's quite reasonable, and I think I really like this deck. I'm glad I picked Narukami for my Accel deck. So yeah, so this has been Professor 095 doing Narukami deck profiles and doing Vanguard videos after so long. So yeah, sign up, peace.